Hi there, it's Leo from Firecrawl, and in this video, we'll take a look at which is the best way for us to output structured data. Is it by using agent? Should we go for extract? Or do we choose the scrape with the JSON format activated? So before anything, let's go straight to the point that extract is being deprecated. We have the agent endpoint, which does what extract does, but in a much better way. But some of our users did use extract, and it's important for us to go through it and compare it to agent to show where agent is just better off, and also show how this migration is pretty much seamless. We already have a few videos and demos on agent, but TLDR, it is an actual agent that has access to many different scraping tools, not only search and scrape and map and crawl and everything, but it can actually click through the website, find exactly the component, the button it needs to click to get to the data required from the user. And this endpoint made it as simple as placing in a query and receiving back structured data. You can define the schema, but the cool thing about this is that other agents can actually use this asynchronously and have data fetched while it's working on other tasks. A quick example is this query I sent. So look for a list of coupons I can use for a website called blah blah blah. From Brazil, I'm buying blah blah blah. Return the found coupons in an array. Get me the top 5 most reliable ones. If you go down to the Get Code button, you'll realize that Firecrawl's playground actually creates that schema for us. But this should work just fine. And let's do Python script pretty quick here, printing out the results and actually just removing the schema. Now, after placing in my Firecrawl API key, let's hit python agent.py. As soon as it's done, we should back a pretty nice response. And while this is running, you can actually go back to the playground, find your session up here, and you should follow along with how the agent is fetching for whatever you requested. Soon enough, the research should be done, and as you can see, the structure is here, even though we didn't really provide a specific schema. So whenever your use case is more dynamic, you need to research, discover, just go for agent. But if you have a specific website that you want to extract JSON, you want just a specific part of that website, then that is when it's much better to just go for the scrape endpoint with JSON as the format. And by the way, yes, we still got the response back here in the terminal. But as for scrape, I think the best way to showcase this is inside of the playground, just because you have a pretty nice interface to play along with. So as soon as you enter the URL, and that is something that is required for the scrape endpoint, you'll want to go down to JSON and click on the edit options. In here, you'll notice we have something pretty similar to the agent where you can ask it to extract something. In this case, I'll add extract all pricings. Now down here, since we're inside of the playground, you can define a schema or just go for JSON. To make it easier, let's just go for schema and select something like plans. This should be an array of objects. Let's delete this one. And now inside of this array of objects, let's add a field which should be plan name. This can be a string and the amount of credits that each plan gives us. So credits available. With that, just hit save option, click on start scraping, and it should be pretty fast to return that data over to us. As you can see, we have all the plans listed out, but if ever want to get the credits as numbers, we could just change that schema, save option, start scraping, and it should structure this in a way that we can actually expect a number to come in. So there we go. The thing is that this is specific to a URL. So this can both be very useful for whenever you already have it defined. But if you don't have that, or if you're unsure, if you think, well, this might be the URL, you can also use agent with the URL option to help it find the data that you need just faster. Also, unlike extract, where you had to place in a URL or a set of different URLs, or even specify a single URL and have it navigate through different directories within that URL. So for example, before, just by adding this character, you would instruct extract to go inside of all the different pages of that website to find whatever data you need. But with agent, that is not necessary anymore. It doesn't just crawl from given websites. Now it actually autonomously does a web research. while the scrape mode is really conditioned by the URL you assigned it to look into. Scrape mode is only synchronous as well. So if you send out the data, you'll have to wait for it to come back to then proceed with whatever you're doing. As for agent, it is asynchronous, and you can either implement polling or even use our event features, which will immediately tell you whenever the agent is done processing. As for pricing, what changed from extract over to agent is that now instead of being token based, it actually has a dynamic calculation on whatever you're spending, on whatever the agent had due to actually find your data, which can make it cheaper and use less tokens if it finds the data fast enough. And as for the JSON mode inside of Scrape, this is an optimal price reduction just because you're already instructing what you need and from where you need. That is it for this video. If you want to check out more details, feel free to go over to our documentation inside of developer guides, usage guides, and in choosing the right data extractor. There we also have more comparison throughout code as well as pricing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Till then.